Do you need some ideas to create die-cut backgrounds real quick? Both of these techniques will have your cards ready to go in just minutes. We're going to be creating two really simple, quick, beautiful backgrounds using just one background die. This is like a cover die, but it doesn't actually cut around the edges. But one of the best things about this style of die is that when you run it through a die cutting machine in one pass, you have a ton of images ready to go. But for the first technique, we're going to do something just a little bit different. We're going to emboss the die cutting image onto a piece of cardstock. I've got some 80-pound Nina here. You can use whatever cardstock you have, and I'm adhering it to the die because it's cut exactly to size and I don't want it to shift. But if you used a larger piece, that would be easier. And here's the secret sauce. It's a silicone mat. Now, many die cutting machines come with one of these silicone mats. So if you haven't used one before, what it does is it prevents the die cutting edge cutting the paper and instead just leaving an impression on the actual cardstock itself. Now, for the sandwich that you need to use in your machine, I would just refer to the guide that you have. And if your machine didn't come with a silicone mat, then you can actually purchase these separately. In the olden days, they were called tan mats because they were tan in color. But look at how amazing that impression is. And there's our first background done, except that this is a layering background and there are numbers impressed in some of the images on this piece of cardstock, and I don't really want them to show. So what I'm doing here is I've flipped the cardstock over and I'm leaning it on this silicone mat, and I'm using my Teflon bone folder. You can use a stylus or any sort of blunt pen, or like something that's got like a blunt end on it, to rub the back of the cardstock and kind of press out the portion, or the numbers in this case, that you don't want to see. They're not going to be really visible at the other end. No one's probably going to notice them, but it's just something that you can do. We're on to our second technique now, and this one we're going to create a pattern. So because this die cuts out multiple images in one pass, you've got a lot of elements to create a really quick and easy background in one pass of the die cutting machine. Although I did decide to go with 3 different colors today. I thought that'd be a lot of fun. And by choosing 3 different colors, it means that I can mix the colors up more easily on the background and make sure that the same colors aren't touching each other too much. It can help with the balance of the design itself. And what I like to do is sort of spread everything out and work on a panel of cardstock. It's cut to A2 size, so I'm not actually working on the card front here, but if that's your preference, that would work too. I typically work on a panel of cardstock. That way, if anything does go wrong, I can just chuck it away without feeling too guilty. So when I'm laying out the pieces, I usually start with the larger of the images, and I try and balance the colors around the card. By adding the larger images first, then I can use the smaller images to fill the gap. And the great thing about things like leaves is that you can cut them down to sort of fit into the design if you need to. So don't feel like you have to use the exact die cut that you've run through the machine. Have a look at it, and if you've got a gap there that's not making you happy, then you can always cut things back and then adhere something in a gap. I also like to use liquid glue a lot of the time. It just is fast drying, it's easy, and I can maneuver it just a little bit when it's on the card, but it's not particularly forgiving, and I'll show you another option shortly. And I also make sure that I hang some of the leaves over the edge of the cardstock, because that way it looks like the pattern is continuous. And it's really easy to clean up those edges just by flipping the cardstock over and cutting them away with I usually use a long straight pair of scissors. Straight, like scissors are crooked. I usually use a longer pair of scissors for this. And then I can grab any of the little extra leftover bits and kind of fill in the gaps a little bit if I feel I need to. But you don't have to use multiple colors. You can use just a single color of die cut. You can also die cut this in white and then add the white onto the white background and get an embossed look. You can also do a tone on tone, like add a colored background if you want. Or if you want to get fancy and you've got more time and you want the card to come together a little bit quicker, you can inlay die cut the images instead. But that would be a labor of love. But it will give you a similar look and it'd be a lot of fun to do. I didn't want to lose the background too much, so I added a central bold sentiment, and this whole card is die cutting, no stamping or colouring at all. Very quick and easy to do. And I decided to add a wax seal to the second card because they're both fairly clean and simple designs, and I thought that would just add something special. I've got the mint Choc here, which is a really pretty green colour, and I'm working on the silicone matte, which is a lifesaver when it comes to anything with heat and wax. The cleanup is so easy, and it also protects your work surfaces. Now I've got the mini bow wax seal stamp. It's a really cute little bow that creates the seal, and I thought the size of this is perfect for card designs. And I decided to melt more wax than I need because I might as well make a few while I'm at it, and that way they're in my stash ready to go, and I'm not getting a naked flame out near paper more often than I need to. So why we decided to add something with naked flame when we're paper crafters, but you know what, it's all about the look. So I decided to make a couple of different sizes with this small wax seal. I did a couple of larger ones, which leaves a circular border around the seal stamp, but I thought I'd try it with just a very small amount as well and just make a tiny seal with it, which worked really well. The other thing I've found is if I've got any leftover wax in the little cradle or the spoon, then I can just tip it onto the mat and then put it back into the jar. Or if I'm not happy with any of the seals that I've made, I can do exactly the same thing. I can cut them up and then remelt them for another wax stamp. So it's all very new to me. I'm still learning the wax seal, so you guys are probably all over this. And my biggest problem was how to adhere it to my card. But first I want to show you that I'm using a dotted adhesive here to add these really intricate die cut leaves and berries to the card, and it works really well. The best thing about this though, which I find over and above the liquid, is that it's repositionable, but once it sets hard. With the wax seal, I kind of looked into it, and from what I can see, foam tape is going to hold it, and so far that's working really well. I did try that on another card design with not as much luck, and then I thought maybe I could try the hot glue gun, but then does that melt the wax again? I want to know in the comments below if you can share with us your most favorite way to adhere a wax seal to a card design, other than add the wax directly to the card front, which would work beautifully too. I'm just not that confident. So let's talk about the two techniques that we've done today. The first one was creating an embossed design using a cutting die, and this cover die is perfect for that. And on the second design, we've got a ton of images with just a couple of quick passes through the machine and made a really quick and easy background. I did mine multicolored, but you can do yours however you like. Let me know in the comments below if you're going to give either of these techniques a try. And don't forget to tell me how you glue your wax seals onto a card front. Till next time, bye.
Hello there! Did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye!